Take 3. Hi guys, if you're new here, my name is Sam and I make videos about makeup, chronic illness, and whatever I want. And even if you're not new here, it has been a minute and maybe you don't recognize me anymore. I have tried to keep updates on my community tabs. I've been struggling with some health stuff. Maybe you've seen previous videos. Even if you haven't, I'm going to go over all of that today while I do my makeup, which I've very much been missing. If you're returning and you've noticed that the lighting is a little weird, or not weird, the lighting is a bit different in a good way. I did get new lights. My skin is in a bit of a fit right now, so my makeup may lay kind of not great, but that's okay. Sometimes we just have dry skin that doesn't work. I am obviously gonna prep. I already did all my skincare and everything. Let's just kind of dive into it. I need to get my hand mirror. So let's just start kind of with like what has been up. If you're new here, or maybe you just need a refresher because it's been a while since all this happened. I'm going to start prepping my skin with a Danessa Myricks Yummy Skin Glow Serum in Main Squeeze. Over the last couple of years, since I've had COVID, my health has just like rapidly been declining. And I need to get this hair out of my face, assumed it was just related to that. And maybe part of it was or is related to that. It's hard to say what truly long COVID does, you know, that's all very new. I also have like a blemish I've been healing under my eye. I've never had that happen before. Like I said, my skin is going through it. I've been just having a ton of exacerbated symptoms, of new symptoms, and last summer, the end of summer, so like last August, September, October, so end of summer, beginning of fall, I went to my doctor with my list of symptoms and he led me in the direction of like Sjogren's. So I started exploring that. I had a lip biopsy done. I saw a rheumatologist. All the Sjogren's stuff was negative, but both the rheumatologist and the ENT who did the lip biopsy said I should see a hematologist based on how my blood work was coming back. Now, I just needed a break because in August / September, I believe, I had 36 appointments, whether it was mental health, allergy shots, allergy appointment, like I needed a break. So when they suggested I see yet another specialist, I was kind of like, if it isn't life or death, I'm going to wait a minute. Now I'm going to go in and fill some of my texture, I haven't done this in a while, with the Benefit PoreFessional Pore Primer. I'm going to be using some like either new techniques or techniques I haven't used in a minute because I am trying to up my base game. So I'm pressing this into the skin so it really gives that like smoothing effect by actually filling my scars. I don't have much here, so I'm just going to use what's left on my fingers. It's mostly my forehead, like old acne scars. I took a break. I was kind of defeated, you know, like when you go in for all this testing, and you have doctors telling you, oh, it's definitely this, and then it's definitely not that. It just gets a little frustrating. So I took a break. Also, the holidays were coming up. I had my rheumatologist appointment in October, and then it was like, oh, right. Well, there's going to be a wait list for a hematologist, and that would put me right in the holidays, and that's the time of year I just flare up in general. So I was like, let me wait until the beginning of the year. I needed a new primary care physician as mine shifted to private practice, and it's just not in my budget to see a private practice doctor. Or they're called like concierge doctors. Like you'd have access to like their personal work phone and like longer visits because they have fewer patients. I just don't have the funds for that. So I needed a new primary care physician. And I set up my appointment with her for February. And in that time, my health declined even more rapidly. I was more or less couch bound more days than I wasn't. I was sleeping all of the time. I was weak. It was so bad, and I was just like, I need answers, right? So, okay, all this blood work is weird. It's showing inflammation. Maybe it's my thyroid again. Like, I've had thyroid issues for a while, and I've had a couple doctors offhandedly mention Hashimoto's, so I was like, maybe that is what it is. Now, the problem with that is the Hashimoto's test will come back as a false negative if you're on thyroid medication. I've been on thyroid medication since 2009, so I was like, the treatment isn't any different, right? Like, you just get put on thyroid medication. So it's not that I necessarily need the diagnosis of that. However, it would tell my doctors that's why these inflammation markers keep coming back on the blood work. I don't feel like color correcting, so we're not going to do that. I'm going to use the Bobbi Brown Skin Longwear Weightless Foundation in N030 Neutral Sand. No longer applying it directly to my face. I'm going to apply it to the back of my hand and then push it into the sponge so it's like even, and then there's not too much, and go in like so. So I see my primary care physician, my new one, and I have my list of symptoms, and I have like the charts of my blood work. You can do this little like chart thing where it shows the results that are in there. So all my results from 2012 to present were in just one little graph. This foundation is like a lot more lightweight than like my double wear, and I do kind of want to do a smoky eye, but I don't want anything too heavy on my skin just because it's really dry at the moment. So she looks at all my blood work, all my symptoms, and a couple of things happen. One, she asks if she can rerun my CBC for like the 5th time. I'm exaggerating. I think it was the 3rd time in 6 months. My doctor ran it, the ENT ran it, and then she would be like the 3rd time. On top of that, she tells me she's not exactly satisfied with the outcome of the rheumatologist. She thinks someone should have taken the time to dive into the inflammation a little bit more. And there's obviously a chance they can't find the answer. But that rheumatologist did not run any tests. She just looked at the Sjogren's biopsy results, the Sjogren's antibody results, and said, you don't have Sjogren's, that is that. Which, that's fine. I mean, that's, you know, what I'm here for, but I took my blood work with me showing like the history of the inflammation, and she didn't want to look at it and was just like, your ANA is negative, so you're fine. And there are obviously other things that can cause inflammation that wouldn't come up on an ANA because they're maybe not necessarily autoimmune, or like the Hashimoto's, it just doesn't register on the ANA at all. Anyway, like that's just going too far into that. So she's like, I kind of want you to see another rheumatologist, one who will look at more than just the test results and focus a lot more on all the blood work, not just antibody blood work, because again, every single marker for inflammation is coming back flagged except an ANA. So that something is happening. So she would look at that and my symptoms and like come up with some kind of game plan there, whether it's just regularly testing me to see if it turns into anything else or runs different tests or what have you. I don't know. I'm not the doctor. That's what my primary said should have happened. I'm going to do a little more down here. Like most of my dryness is here and most of my redness is here, and because this is lighter coverage, I'm going to do one pump divided between the two sides. I did one pump in each area. The rheumatologist she wants to send me to is actually in the same office that I tried to contact before I found the one that I ended up going to. The one I ended up going to, it was kind of strange. Like, she was very nice, but it was very old school. It wasn't her office. She was like renting a room from a pulmonologist. It was just kind of strange. But it was the only one who was taking patients. Like, I tried to get into a university clinic, but like my doctor didn't send the paperwork, or they rejected me, or I have no idea what happened there. I was flustered at the time, so I wasn't trying to understand exactly what was happening. I was just trying to get answers because I just have felt so terrible. I tried to get a hold of this office to just see anyone in it, and when you're a new patient, one, nobody answered the phone. And two, when you're a new patient, you have to leave a message on an answering machine. And I left 2 or 3 messages. And that was in August of 2023. And I still haven't received a call back. So I'm not super optimistic that I'm going to be able to get into this rheumatologist. So that was the appointment. And then she mentioned, you'll get the blood work back before I do, because that's how the my chart thing works. She's like, but you'll hear from me on Monday. This was a Thursday. You'll hear from me on Monday about, like, you know, my thoughts on it and if I'm moving forward with new treatment or whatever. I'm going to color correct under my eyes with the Smashbox Loves Becca Undereye Brightening Corrector in Fair Light. I do apply this with my finger because it, like, warms the product up. I'm, at this point, just expecting everything to come back completely normal because that's just how life has been going. Well, I take that back. Not completely normal because all that stuff keeps getting flagged. Like, my red blood cells are flagged, my white blood cells are flagged, all the other inflammation stuff, sedimentation rate, like, everything is flagged, but, like, nobody's giving me an answer, right? So it turns out, like, she does run the antibodies for Hashimoto's and it comes back negative, which I expected because I've been on, like, a high dose of thyroid medication for 16, 15 years, something like that. I'm not surprised. Now, this concealer might actually be too light for this foundation color, but we're going to use it anyway. I'm just going to go in with a fluffy brush and just kind of touch up a couple spots here. I'm tapping off excess product on the back of my hand. Also ran my iron, my ferritin, and had something else done that I didn't know what it was. I don't remember the names. Test results come back slowly. The Hashimoto's test came back like 2 weeks after I went to the doctor, by the way, so I had actually totally forgotten about it. But again, I expect it to come back negative because obviously your thyroid is treated, which is the treatment for Hashimoto's. It's not going to come back positive. Unless, of course, the medication isn't working. But the medication is working. So, in my mind, that isn't ruled out as the cause of inflammation, but that is for somebody else to decide, not me. The iron comes back flagged. Ferritin flagged. Some percentage that shows anemia. I'm so sorry that Doodle keeps screaming. But Eric is asleep right now, and if I let him in here, he'll just knock everything off of my desk. We're just gonna have to ignore that and hope he tires himself out. Everything regarding the iron is flagged. And then this percentage thing is off the charts, which shows not just an iron deficiency, but that it's iron deficiency anemia. And then she has a hematologist, pathologist interpret all of my blood work. And they basically say, these couple of things came back negative. What did it say exactly? I got it in here somewhere. So it says, consistent with normal pattern in whatever this one test says. Note, alpha thalassemia trait can have a normal pattern and should be considered if patient's historical microcytosis and low normal MCV do not resolve following correction of iron deficiency. So basically what it's saying is, I mentioned, since 2012, like my red count has been flagged like every time as being too high. Now, to be anemic, technically, you need to not have enough. But in severe anemia, your body just starts producing excess red blood cells, but they're very tiny, which is what the microcytosis thing is that my red blood cells are like micro and they're not functioning. And then the MCV, something else like regarding that. Now, a lot of my blood work is leaning towards me kind of having both of those things, so that is probably something that will be explored. But again, I'm not the doctor. This is just like what is happening, and like obviously I'm curious, so I'm like Googling what the hell is this. So alpha thalassemia is like the most common blood disease, and it's a cousin of sickle cell in the sense of it's a genetic, not mutation, it's like an evolutionary thing to help prevent malaria. And this is common in people in the Middle East and the Mediterranean or of descent of those places. And I am Mediterranean on my mom's side. So, yeah. And then also, like my mom mentioned when I was a kid, they had investigated something like that because of some stuff that was happening. So it's likely that could happen. Anyway, I was shocked because I wasn't expecting that. And I started doing all this research about like my symptoms and anemia and literally everything. This dry skin, the dry eyes, the dizziness, the extra headaches, the increase in my migraines, the weakness, the literally everything. I can't even think of all my symptoms right now, but every single one of them is like a symptom of anemia. And I'm just kind of like, seriously, it took this long to figure that out. Nobody else ran an iron test. Literally nobody until now has run an iron test on me. Okay, I'm going to conceal now with, why am I holding the mirror? The Stay Naked in 30 NN, and I now apply concealer with a brush. I'm going to put the concealer on the back of my hand, and then I'll put it under my eyes with a brush. Same deal. I put the concealer on the back of my hand, and I'm pushing it into the brush so it's evenly coated, but also there's not too much product. Anyway, I see all this and I'm just kind of like, wow, that explains many, many things that are happening to me right now. I hear from my doctor on Monday afternoon and she's like, all right, you got low iron, you got low folate, which is like B9 or something, I think. I had to Google it up because I had no idea what folate was. She's like, so take this high dose iron pill, take this folic acid, bada bing, bada boom. And I was like, okay, I'm not going to question that. And then I go that day and buy some iron because my insurance won't pay for iron because you could buy it over the counter. So I had to buy some iron. And I followed all the little rules to make sure it didn't upset your stomach. But guess what? Ended up with gastritis. It was horrific the 3 days I took the iron. The gastritis is still here because it takes months for gastritis to clear up. It is not as bad, but it is still here and it is still being a little bitch. I contacted my doctor and I was like, I tried all these little tricks. I made sure I ate it with food. I made sure I took it with vitamin C. But the thing is, I have horrible acid reflux. I have for years, which honestly could have led to the anemia in the first place. A mixture of that and the potential thalassemia anyway led to the... I'm pushing this in with a sponge now, just in case there's excess product kind of picking it up. And also just smoothing it out a little. I have sleep crusties. So I reached out to my doctor and I was like, not working, girl, not working. Now there is liquid iron that's supposed to be easier on your stomach, but two things. I don't have dental insurance, so I have to pay out of pocket for the dentist. Thankfully, my dentist has one of those things where you can, like, every year pay for a plan that covers, like, your cleanings. And then you get a, like, percentage off of, like, fillings and stuff. But I take very good care of my teeth because I don't have dental insurance. And the liquid iron permanently stains your teeth black. Not doing that. But also, there are plenty of people who still got sick from it. Basically, I don't want to swallow any iron. I learned that if you have a reaction to it, it's causing a chemical burn that is the equivalent to bleach. I don't drink bleach for a reason. I'm not going to drink iron. So I reached out to her and I was like, I cannot afford to have teeth problems because I don't have dental insurance. And also, I don't want black teeth. I guess they can't fully get the staining off of your teeth. I don't want black teeth. I can't afford dental problems. And I'm in so much pain from this gastritis. It's just not going to work out, right? And so she has her nurse call, which I appreciate. It wasn't just a message. She had her nurse call and said, she saw your message and this is her response. There are two options. There's another iron that is low, supposed to be low GI upset symptoms or something. Or we could do infusions. And I explained, I was like, I am really suffering just after 3 pills of this. Like, I'm so sick. I can't eat. I feel like somebody is shredding my intestines. The heartburn is out of control. I really don't feel comfortable trying any other oral iron because I'm worried that then I'll just end up with an ulcer, which I have bordered on having an ulcer before I went on the medication. Like, my esophagus has already dabbled in potential ulcers. I really can't risk that, so we decided to go for the infusions. And she's like, okay, well, she just wants to have like a phone call visit with you just to like talk about stuff. And I was like, cool, not a big deal. They had me check with my insurance to make sure they even pay for infusions. And my insurance said, as long as in the order it's written that I cannot tolerate oral iron, they will pay for it. So cool. I won't have to pay $15,000. I'll just have to pay my copay. I'm fine with that. So we have our appointment 2 days later, and she explains that she's going to refer me to hematology because they have a better understanding of what specifically kind of iron would be best for my needs. They would get the order faster. It would take months for hers to get approved because she's just a primary care physician, etc., etc. Totally understand. And with how some of my other blood work is, I should probably see a hematologist anyway, given the ENT and the rheumatologist both already told me to do that. I got off the phone with her and literally called the recommended hematologist. Funny enough, my primary care physician and my ENT recommended the same doctor. Called that office and got that set up for April 5th. And we'll see where that goes. I realize I've told this whole story and I'm not even like half done with my makeup. I don't know where I want to go with my makeup. It's kind of why I'm stalling. I have no idea when this turned off because I was combing my eyebrow. But I'm kind of, it's weird to say excited, but besides the gastritis, the iron pills had me feeling pretty good. Because my iron is so low, it kind of hit me fast, right? Which was nice. It felt nice to feel more like pre-2021 me. Oh my goodness, doodle. So I'm excited to see where this goes. I'm also just a little nervous because anyone with a chronic illness knows you just have this degree of... Oh, I didn't say what I was using. Gimme Brow by Benefit, shade 3. Anyone with a chronic illness knows there's always this degree of like, what if it doesn't go smoothly? So I'm nervous in that regard, that it's not going to be smooth. I'm not super nervous about more testing. Well, I guess that depends on what the testing is, because I saw what some of the testing is, and that if it ends up being like that, that will be kind of nerve-wracking. But I have this thing, and maybe you guys can relate, where I don't particularly feel nervous until it's about to happen. So I'm not going to be nervous ahead of time because my brain is like, oh, well, like that's not happening right now. But at the same rate, I have like the worst anxiety regarding other stuff all the time that it's not even that it's happening in the future. I just come up with weird hypothetical things to be anxious about. It's very goofy. Okay, priming my eyes with Urban Decay Primer Potion in Eden. This is the opaque one. I don't like the original. I'm gonna let this kind of sit for a minute, and now that my eyebrows are dry, go in with Brow Setter, also by Benefit. I truly have not been doing much of anything. If my makeup skills are bad, it's because I have forgotten how to do it, because I haven't done my makeup in so long. I've just, like I said, kind of been couch bound. I have some good days, and then I have to like pack everything into them because I have no idea when I'm going to have another good day. We're going to let that set before I try to like shape them. My eyebrows have been kind of rude to me lately. What we're going to do for eyes is I'm using the Glamlite Hershey's Cookies and Cream. I'm feeling a cool tone look because it decided to snow today. I'm gonna start with that. So I haven't been doing too much. Like I said, on a good day, I'm good about pacing, like, and calling it when I need to. But I have to cram things in to that day because I, like 98% of the time, have not been able to do anything. So it's like I have to play catch up. Thankfully, I haven't had too many appointments over the last couple of months. Maybe just like 4 or 5. And then a couple virtual ones. So I'm grateful for that. We had a couple nice days, so when I did feel good, I'm going to use my translucent powder, Hourglass Veil, to help blend this out because there's not a lighter shade in the palette to do that with. On a few nicer days I felt good. I did some early like spring prep, like cleaning up some stuff that needed to be dealt with outside, just so I'm not trying to scramble because they're calling for a hot, wet summer, which is good. No wildfires is bad when you have heat intolerance and you have to do stuff outside. I don't know if iron can like how much it can fluctuate, right? Because there are days where I'm like this and I can do some stuff. I got some stuff done. And then there's days where like I can't even feed myself. So I don't know if there are like fluctuations in the iron and like on those days it's like lower. I do eat every single food more or less except like beef liver that is high in iron, so I know it isn't my diet. Like I eat a ton of beans, I eat a lot of seafood, I eat chicken, eggs, broccoli, spinach, all of these things, so I know that isn't the cause of it, but I'm wondering if it does just fluctuate and that's why like on some days I'm just even more tired, or is there something else happening with the inflammation that like, and on top of the iron, it's a whole thing. I still don't have like all the answers. I'm just glad that I'm moving in the right direction, you know? I try to get things done on the good days and then I'm literally unconscious some other days for like 19 hours. Which is why I haven't been filming, because when I do have an appointment, I have to make sure like I'm ready for that appointment, and sometimes I just like crash, or I have to do a chore or an errand or whatever, so I haven't been able to film. Well, that's a lie. I've actually been able to film twice and both videos were ruined. One, the lights, and it's this video that I tried to film. So third time's the charm. The old lights were making this humming noise that I couldn't edit out. And the last one, my computer reset the mic, which I realized I didn't freaking check. My battery's died. Let me check right now. So what I was saying is I tried to film this twice. Once the lights were humming, the other time the audio had like reset and it was blown out and I couldn't save it either. It sounded like a news announcer or a sports announcer who like is too close to the microphone at like a high school football game. Terrible. So like I literally wasted 2 good days trying to film and it's not working, but when I checked on this looks like it's fine, except we're listening to Doodle scream the entire time, so you might argue that it's ruined. You might. Okay, I'm gonna mix that warm shade, and I would never normally do this, but I'm scared that I'm already gonna ruin it, and I haven't even started yet. I could just do the 2 browns, but I don't want to, so I'm gonna do this gray here because it kind of looks warm. I'm going to clean that off because I don't want too much as I'm blending it out, and I'm going to put that brown back on my shade, on my brush. Think pepperoni attacked doodle. To blend these two together so it's not too dark. But yeah, so I have attempted to film a couple of times on my good days, and it just hasn't worked out. I don't know, the universe just telling me that whatever I had to say that day just wasn't very good. Oh my goodness. He seems more upset when I talk, like somebody's in here or something. I don't know. He doesn't like people. I don't know why that would upset him. He hides from everybody. I went back in with a little more of that gray. Because my eyes is nothing about the quality of the shadow. I tend to have a spot on this eye in particular, like right here, where sometimes the shadow just doesn't want to stick. Gonna go back in with brown to blend it out. And I went a little heavy-handed with the brown when I should have been using some of this translucent powder. I told you, I'm not good at this right now. Maybe he wants dry food. We measure out the dry food, and he could just be mad if the bowl is empty. The food bowl was, in fact, empty. Aside from feeling tired and weak, my migraines have been doing much better. Except recently, they've been a bit of an issue because the weather is just yo-yoing. If you live in the Midwest, you know. And it isn't like the normal Midwest yo-yo. This is like extreme. There was one day where there was a 40-degree temperature fluctuation in like 6 hours. So like that has been triggering some migraines. Overall, they're more manageable and less frequent, but I had one at the beginning of this week. It was the worst one I've had since I've started the Nurtec. We had a huge shift. Like, I have this little app on my phone. What's it called, in case you're curious? Called WeatherX, like the letter X. They do sell a product like these earplugs that are supposed to help, but the app is free and you don't need an account or anything, and it'll just alert you about barometric pressure shifts. And it's been very helpful for me to track like the association between that and like my migraine attacks, to know if it's actually the weather or if it is something else. And we had a day, because we were going from spring weather to this multiple inches of snow that we got today, and usually on an average day I'll get an alert that there's like a pressure shift of 0.1 or 0.09 or something. This day we had 4 to 5 alerts where it was like 0.3, 0.35, 0.4. So these are huge pressure shifts, and like it explains why that migraine was the worst I've had, because I don't know that I've seen numbers that bad before. Not since I started using the app. I mean, I'm sure there's been pressure shifts like that before, but I haven't had the app to be able to monitor it. But it's very helpful for me to track it, because when I go and see my doctor, they always want me to keep a log of not only when I get the headaches, how long it lasts, if an abortive medication works, etc., but also the cause. And for a while, it was like me kind of just speculating, or like, I'm pretty certain it is the weather, but like, I don't know for sure. Where now I can absolutely say, yes, it was 100% the weather. But now I've kind of run out of things to talk about. I mean, I've been watching a lot of TV in between naps. I jokingly call them my 12 anemic naps a day, because like I feel like truly I nap that often. Now I'm going to go in with this dark brown and potentially ruin everything, but I'm just washing it off anyway. It's like 9 o'clock. Oh, the other thing I have been doing is like, it's still March and my birthday is towards the end of April. I have been celebrating my birthday, I've been buying myself shit this month instead of next month because I have many doctor's appointments. But again, if I'm going to have to go through more testing and starting the infusions and stuff, I'm probably not going to feel up to doing anything for my birthday because I guess when your iron is this low, there's the potential that the first infusion or two you get what they call the iron flu, which is basically like you feel like you have a really bad case of the flu once they give you the iron, just because your body is trying to figure out what the heck to do with it because it isn't really familiar with iron anymore. I've just been preparing to lose the whole month of April because generally what I do is I take 20 days of April, my birthday's on the 20th, and just like do little things each day, whether I like go pick out some flowers or I go shopping or whatever. I just do a little thing every day, get myself lunch, something, celebrate myself for 20 days. It's this fun little tradition. Nothing major, just like little purchases, little fragrance purchases. I did my yearly trip to the outlets and got myself a new bag. And then, like with my no-buy, I said it was going to be like birthday month. And I will still pick up one or two things during the Sephora sale. But I've actually done my purchases. I'm pretty much swapped March and April. And my low buy, no buy situation that was lifted in April is now like lifted in March because April I'm just going to be like busy. It's funny because as March is ending, I'm kind of already feeling like my birthday is ending, like I do in April, just because I've been doing it all early. It will be nice though to not feel like I'm missing my birthday because I chose to do all this stuff early and still enjoy and celebrate my birthday just at a different time. Where normally I would just feel bummed, like, oh, it's my birthday month and I have to go to the doctor, I have to do blah, I don't feel well. I'm not going to have that. I'm going to do honey. So what I'm going to do now, kind of cover the lid in that brown shade that we started with. I've made a lot of purchases this month. Well, not a lot. Not, you know, an insane amount. But compared to not buying anything. Some of the things I bought were replacements. Some of the things not. I do plan to shop whenever they have it. They don't exactly know when they're going to do it. The Mooncat Spring Sale. I'm going to NYX Glitter Primer as usual. And this is Victoria Beckham Honey. It looks real rough. I like this shade because it's really pretty without being like much. And I love my too much looks where they're really in your face. But I'm trying to just experiment with something different. And this is that. It's just a light shimmer. It's not too glittery. It's just very pretty. I'm gonna blend this stuff together before I do the other eye. I also like that it blends out. Like there is a little bit of a color under it. So if you see, I was able to take that off. I am going to put some more of that brown in the outer corner. The dark brown. And then take the other two colors and kind of buff it. But yeah, so I've pretty much, like, I have to do one more gift, but I got all, like, my April birthday gifts taken care of for other people as well, because I just wanted to make sure that I would rather do stuff early than late. That's just how I am. And so I wanted to make sure that however I feel in April, like I might feel great, like I might have prepared for nothing, but I'd rather be prepared and not have needed it than to feel overwhelmed and like try to play catch up in May and just basically break down, have like burnout, meltdown, all of the above, because I'm trying to do 100 things. It's so much easier for me mentally to plan and do things early than try to do them after the fact, because then I just feel it's too much. It's too chaotic and I just don't like it. Let's do under my eyes. We'll start with that light tan shade. Now I'm going in with that like gray, connecting this. I'm not going to use any of that brown because I think it's just too dark. I'm going to go in the inner corner with this white shade. It's weird to me because I have long nails right now. I have to use like a silicone thing for that. I use my fingers so much for things I didn't notice I used it for until I couldn't. Now, let's go with the bronzer. I am going to do some liner and stuff, but I'm sick of my eyes right now. What do I want to do? Sundown by Melt. This is technically a blush, I believe, but it works good as a bronzer. Especially, this works as a deeper bronze. Lynx I use as like my lighter bronze, but I want it bold because we're ruining my makeup today. This is actually like quite sheer. You can build it up quite a bit, so it's actually going to be fine. In person, it probably will be too orange. Also, like my foundation doesn't match. Oh, I never got into that. So like I've noticed I'm like way more fair than usual, and like even my lightest shades of foundation haven't been matching me at all. I'm like, what's that about? That's weird. The anemia, of course. So I have, in person, even if I feel up to it, I don't leave the house with makeup because unless I'm doing something very light, like just my skin tint, it doesn't match. And it's not that I'm more fair, right? Like the makeup looks too dark, but it's mostly because I'm kind of gray. Like I'm a gray translucent kind of shade. So like, it's not like a lighter makeup would match me better. I mean, unless it was gray. It's just like I have no color. I started using a gradual tanning lotion just because I didn't know what it was. I mean, once I got the anemia thing, I realized what it was. But when I got the tanning lotion, I didn't know what it was. But I was just like, I need my makeup to match me. So I haven't been tanning deep, but like just to give me some sense of color, more to like my winter shade. Just so my makeup matched, and also so I looked a little less dead. Sometimes I joked I look like I walked out of the morgue. I was gray. I truly looked like I walked out of the morgue. Let's do blush. I'm gonna go in with this, which looks scary, I know. I haven't forgotten we're gonna go back and finish the eyebrows when I finish the eyes. See, it's not so scary when it's on. Like, it's obviously a deeper berry, but it shears out nicely. I ordered nude sticks, and one of them is a similar color. My only complaint with this color is, I don't know if you'll be able to see it. It has, like, pink glitter in it, and I don't always want that because I'm experimenting, like, with different looks, and sometimes I don't want, like, a glittery face, and when I want to blush this color, I do have a powder one that is similar but not as deep, and I got a nude sticks one that is a similar color, but it obviously doesn't have glitter in it because I don't always want glitter. You know, you don't always want glitter. I want to use Glazed Donut because we're like bold here today. OFRA's Glazed Donut, and I realized I don't know if I said the name of the blush. It is Melt Daydreamer was the blush that I used. These lights show off my highlight better. We're not going to set my face with powder because, like I said, I'm just taking this off. Let's do liner. I'm going to use the Bobbi Brown Longwear Gel Eyeliner in Caviar Ink. I like this one because I'm scared of eyeliner. I'm looking for a brush. And this one isn't exactly brown. It isn't exactly black. It's a very nice in-between, which I think is perfect because it's great when you're scared of eyeliner and you don't want black because, like, I'm going to use Urban Decay 24/7 Glide On Eye Pencil in Whiskey. Let's do a mascara. I forgot to do mascara in the last video. Now I can put my glasses on and we could try to fix these eyebrows. And I can see, it's the reveal for me. Like, I can see the shape. I can see where my eyes are. I can see, like, my cheeks, and I can see the eye color. Like, I can tell it's gold and brown. I can't see detail, so this is a big reveal for me through my horrifically dirty glasses that I need to wash later. Okay, she's cute, actually. I was a little worried about that inner corner. I've been trying to use a pencil to fix my brows, and it's not exactly working. I'm not doing 2016 brows. I'm going to use the pomade how I would use the pencil because I feel like the pencil I get out of control with. Like, what did I do? Oh, here it is. Like, it won't show up, so I'll do a couple things, and then it's too much, and then I look like it's 2016 brows. Today, this brow is mostly behaving, but you see I have, like, these patches of weirdness where the hair is thinner. And this brow, I don't know what the hell is happening right here. Now, I haven't, like, plucked my brows in a minute, except, like, here, like, underneath. So I don't know who or what to blame for that. Honestly, they don't look that bad, but I would like to fill in a couple of the patches, or try to. We're experimenting here, because like I said, the pencil I'm getting out of control with. So I'm just going to try to use this how I would use the pencil, but I feel like it's going to work better. I thought about getting one of those felt tip pens, right? But I was like, why? Isn't that what DipBrow was made for? Just because we didn't use it that way in 2016, like, look at that. That's perfect. This is how we used DipBrow when it was invented, but this is definitely how it was intended to be used, was instead of a pencil. So more so for people who have, like, come on, I'm fixing all of the spots. We just happen to color in our whole brows. That isn't exactly how it was supposed to be used. So, I mean, that looks so much better. See, DipBrow doesn't need to be scary. And that was in shade Ash Brown. Lip. I want to do Suzanne MAC Prep and Prime Lip, Chanel, Suzanne, or 438. I love that it's a berry, but it's still sheer, because there are some days where I don't want the, like, upkeep of trying to get a super opaque dark shade to work. And this is perfect because I still get the drama, but without having to, like, get it perfect on my lips. I've really been enjoying that color. I want to check out some of the other ones. And this is Fenty Gloss Bomb in Riri. Now, the thing is, my lips are very uneven. And dark colors, even when they're sheer, accentuate that a little bit. But I like this a lot. This whole look actually came out great. If I made any blending errors, you can't see it because I have glasses on. I'm so glad that I got to film, and I hope that all of this footage lasted because I had a lot of fun. I had fun the other 2 times too, and I was bummed out. I'm almost through my second battery. This is going to be a really long video. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I'm so happy that I was able to make a video because I love this. It's such a fun hobby. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, please consider subscribing. And I hope that soon I'll be back to being able to upload regularly. But check my community tab. Follow me on Instagram if you're not already, because I am on there all the time posting little life updates and whatnot. Thank you so much for hanging out with me, and I'll see you guys next time.